Another week, boys, and another TWAB. This week at Bungie, we enjoyed a weekend of watching Guardians take on the Taken King once more, and we're now back at it with a matchmaking update and more pirate puns. Oh boy. Now, watching y'all take on King's Fall this past week has been incredible. For many, this was a welcome return, bringing with it feel-good nostalgia with a challenging twist. For others, this was their first shot at experiencing a part of Destiny's history for themselves. Regardless of where you fall on that spectrum of players, there's one thing that we can all agree on. Jumping puzzles are the bane of our existence. And if those hilarious, and often failed in my case, attempts aren't a fire team bonding moment, we don't know what is. For this week's TWAB-tastic adventure, we've got some behind-the-scenes data about recent matchmaking changes, a new expedition location to loot for booty while putting that best pirate foot forward, rules first celebrations, and a few other things outside of Destiny 2 that we're excited to share. Ready for a new week? Let's get into it. Yeah, I figured this topic was gonna come up, guys. Skill-based matchmaking. It's in the game, and it is strict. I'm talking balls sweaty every single game. And believe me, I like it hard. And if somebody asks me, I always say harder. However, matchmaking right now is pretty fatiguing. No lie. Now, Crucible matchmaking check-in, just a Titan bubble and a dream. This season, we implemented the loose skill-based matchmaking that we talked about back in August. To talk about the launch of this revised feature is principal designer Alan Blaine, here with a vibe check in the PvP verse of Season of Plunder. Take it away, Alan. So from Alan Blaine, hi folks. That sure was a great start to the Season of Plunder in Ritual Land. We've seen a significant uptick in the number of players and amount of time spent within Crucible. While we are excited to talk about the bright future of Crucible development, I'm sure a lot of you want to hear about the loose skill-based matchmaking we added to Control. As we talked about in an earlier TWAB, one of the functions of Season 18's Control node is to help us tune a solid 6v6 matchmaking setting before we start implementing new matchmaking features like team size and dynamic skill ranges. We're going to start with a fun tale about live game development, just to illustrate why we like to run smaller tests before rolling things out wider. If you just want the weekly stats and future details, skip down to the stats from week 1 section. I'm not liking where this is going. I can already tell right now that my booty hole is getting finessed right before the plunge. Control week 1. Starting at reset on August the 23rd, loose skill-based matchmaking in Control was supposed to go live. Instead, players who joined Control found that they were matched up against anyone and everyone. Skill didn't seem to matter, and neither did platform. Normally, PC players are separated from console and Stadia players via matchmaking. So what happened here? During that day's update patch for Season of Plunder, the file with the new matchmaking setting was not updated, and instead, Control used our default matchmaking settings. Once we found the bug and figured out what was going on, around 7 p.m. on the same day, we got the file updated on the servers, and everyone was using loose skill-based matchmaking. Hooray. This illustrates a couple key points. We do our updates and weekly resets on Tuesday rather than Friday, so when something unexpected happens, no one must pull weekend heroics to fix the game. Second, we make changes in one location first to make sure it's stable before expanding it to other uses, especially when we are exercising systems that haven't been changed recently. Now, default matchmaking. The default matchmaking that everyone played until 7 p.m. is never actually seen in game if things go well. It is designed as a fallback that just works and finds people to play with, but doesn't do anything clever. Default matchmaking ignores platform, skill, and almost everything else. The only thing it takes into account is latency, but only for the first 15 seconds of matchmaking. After that, it's no holds barred. So on the morning of August the 23rd, if your Control match took longer than 15 seconds to matchmake, which it almost always does, it was basically just picking the first 11 people it found, no matter how good the connections to you were, or what platform they were on, or what their skill was. You see what's happening here? Bungie's like, yo, we know you loved matchmaking that day through this default matchmaking system. We know you loved it. It was fantastic for all of like 6 hours. However, we're gonna try to convince you that you didn't love it with this statement right here. And of course, this could cause laggy players, bad hit registration, and matching with players far outside your normal skill band. This is why we sometimes spend multiple minutes on our various matchmaking thresholds, making sure latency is solid as we can get it. Right. Well, I will say this. I was actually going balls deep all day long whenever I was inside of PvP that day, and it was beautiful. I got to play with console boys. I love playing PlayStation 4 players and Xbox One players. There's something beautiful about watching a player that's playing at 30 frames per second, 72 field of view, just watching them try to turn around when you get behind them, right? It's hilarious. By the way, if you're an old console player, don't get offended. I truly mean it when I say I love you. Now, stats from week 1. Oh, this is when Bungie starts to pad the stats. So as of 7 p.m. or so on Tuesday night, we had loose skill-based matchmaking on in Control, and we have some interesting results. So let's dive right in. In the first week of Season of Plunder, 140,000 more hours of Control have been played than in the first week of Season the Haunted, and we had around 11% increase in the total number of players playing Control. This is a terrible statistic. We will make a second video on this statistic right here. Cross, it's 140,000 hours. What are you talking about? We just added Epic Games. That's why that number went up. Oh, and we also had a free-to-play week. Where do free-to-play players go? Almost immediately into Control. I refuse to get bamboozled right now. Matchmaking times. Overall, our average matchmaking times went up by an average of 5 to 10 seconds. That's a good indication that the matchmaking is generally working, but isn't showing our worst cases. The lowest population segments, extreme low and high skill. For the highest skill band, less than 0.1% of the population, matchmaking times average around 90 seconds. During high population times, spiking to just over 200 seconds at low population times. For the lowest skill band, we see matchmaking times between 120 seconds at best and 240 seconds at worst. Just looking at matchmaking times, the current setting looks like they are getting us where we want to be. However, we're cautious about making too many assumptions right now. We have plenty of anecdotal evidence of bad connections in those high skill games, and week 1 is one of the highest population moments of the season. Thank you. All right, I was getting a little concerned there that we were all sniffing the same pile of crap and calling it roses. Now, skill differences. The skill difference we see in Control matches are pretty stark. Without skill-based matchmaking, only 10% of matches had 600 or less skill difference between the highest and lowest players. With skill-based matchmaking on, we see that 80% of the games have that separation or less. For 90% of the games without skill-based matchmaking, the average skill of all players within a game was between 300 and -100. Now we see a significant number of games with a high average of 600 skill and regularly as low as -500, with a few games each day going as low as -900 average. Yada yada, you're playing within your intended lane. Game outcomes. Looking at game outcomes, where our work really matters, we see more interesting data. Mercy games are down 4%. Not as much as we hoped, but it has been shrinking a little day by day. Games where the score threshold has been met remain steady, and games that go to time rose by 4%. These are all within range, and we expect that the first few weeks will be more chaotic than normal, as players readjust their play styles from optimized play against a wide variety of players to optimized play against similarly skilled players, aka playing against sweaty tryhards constantly, balls in your face, must equip meta weapons. Now the skill system will adjust to reflect those changes. We would expect Mercy games to shrink slowly over the coming weeks, and if the time limit games rise consistently during that time, we will likely look at a score goal and lower it to compensate. As far as the score and kill differences, we see a similar set of incremental improvements. Games where the best player had 30 plus kills or more than the worst player went from 9% of games to 2%. Games where the best player had only 10 to 19 more kills than the worst player went from 35% of games to 55%. Ah yes, we are getting to that perfect 1-to-1 ratio. Bungie doesn't want you to have a high KD. They want to bring that baby down to a nice flat 1 kill to 1 death for just about everybody in the lobby. Now quitting. We have seen one worrying trend in the data. The percentage of players quitting before the end of the match has risen from 8% to 12% in the last week. This is especially bad with matches designed to be balanced with 12 equally skilled players. We are still investigating to see if this is localized to a specific cohort or play style, or if this is a natural player reaction to a new system. This percentage may reduce over time. Stay tuned. Well, those guys are quitting because playing the best players in the game over and over and over again for no other reason other than just playing Control, which is supposed to be a social playlist, well, it has that effect. Cross, why are you being so toxic? You haven't seen anything yet. We're gonna have a skill-based matchmaking video coming very soon. Now, future plans. There are a few points of concern that we are addressing. The number of poor connections during matches and the number of players quitting matches early. Other than those, most of the analytics have been positive, considering this new experience, and will take folks some time to get used to it. For now, we're taking a few steps. We're extending the time that loose skill-based matchmaking will sit and wait for the best connection quality between group leaders. Hopefully, this will increase the overall connection quality when matchmaking goes past 2 minutes. We also have some new analytics coming online soon, which should give us a better picture of the connection quality between all players within matches, not just the group leaders. We're going to be adding a quitter protection control in a future patch. We hope to discuss more in a future TWAB. Oh, so you're going to be penalized for leaving a social playlist? What the hell? Okay. All right, Bungie. Bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out. For the immediate future, you can look forward to Iron Banner next week with the new Eruption mode. Need a refresh on what that is? No worries. We got you covered here. Yeah, there's a new game mode coming. Actually, it looks pretty cool. Iron Banner shouldn't be as sweaty as Control, which means a lot of us are probably going to be playing it. Now, truly, before we move on this point, I do want to know your opinions. Are you liking Control more this season? Is the PvP experience better for you? And if it is, I will shut the hell up. So seriously, and I'm gonna even have a poll up on Twitter here soon. Leave a comment and let me know. Yes, I love PvP this season. No, I don't love PvP. Very simple. I just want to know. You can even add some things to it. I'm just curious where everyone stands on this front. They have an army? We have an Ida. What did the ocean say to the pirate? Nothing. Water can't talk, but at least it waves. While we haven't mastered communicating with water yet, but we do have those sick pirate puns always at full mass, we do have a different expedition location to uncover for Guardians looking to make Ido proud. As we should, because she must be protected at all costs. I don't know. She's got a mean old daddy, or at least everybody's scared of her daddy, so I think she's protected enough. This week, we're heading to the Cosmodrome to loot all the booty that you could possibly want. For those that may just be jumping into Season the Plunder for the first time, Expedition is the new 3-player match-made activity where pirate hopefuls must band together to hunt treasure while fighting off those who may want to prove that they want it more. But we're not going to let it happen, right? Of course not. We've got Misrax and Ido on our side. What could go wrong? Now, can we get a King's Fall raid with a side of World's First? Another World's First is come and gone, and this time bringing back the beloved King's Fall raid from Destiny's Past. Players from all over the world gathered their fire teams and headed in to take out Oryx one more time. It was a close race. We had many teams all vying for the top spot, but only one could be victorious. The winning team was a shocker. Not because they didn't put their best foot forward, but because this is their third time in a row winning World's First. I don't care who you are, that's impressive. Clan Elysium is back with a 3-peat win with an all-star lineup of Salt Grepo, Cruz, Kairos, Balfate, Moople, and Quaz along for the ride. Great guys. Taught them everything they knew, fellas. I'm so proud. They dodged, dunked, and made a few hilarious missteps along the way, but you know what? They had a lot of fun, and the look of sweet, sweet relief on their faces when they realized that they have finally reached the coveted finish line was a sight to behold. A huge congrats again to this team. It was definitely a wild ride from start to finish. So now we know who won, but what about some other fun facts that herald the return of King's Fall? Let's break it down, shall we? King's Fall round Destiny 2 fight. Total players that entered the raid: normal 458,120, challenge 35,678. Total Guardian deaths nearly 34 million, challenge nearly 3 million. Players that cleared totems 158,000, challenge 31,649. Players that cleared Golgoroth: normal 52,958, challenge 19,341. Players that cleared daughters: normal 49,873, challenge 19,028. And then players that yeeted Oryx into oblivion: normal 49,245, challenge 17,107. Total hours spent in King's Fall: normal 1,989,371, challenge 208,295. So basically, we have a lot of emblems to give away and quite a few raid rings to dole out. For those that do get emails, we're still working on that. You're going to want to keep an eye out for the next Bungie newsletter. In that, we'll be breaking down your own hashtag raid complete report to see all those ups, downs, and sideways yeets off of the cliff edges. Yeah, so these numbers, they're good, right? But Kujay's already pointed out that the numbers did significantly dip in comparison to Vow of the Disciple, and that's simply because the raid launched on Friday. Let me know in the comments below. Would you prefer a Saturday raid versus a Friday raid? I understand like Bungie where they're like, yo, there was bugs in the last raid and you had to bring people in to Bungie over the weekend. Listen, I get it. Nobody likes to work weekends. However, for the sake of having like potentially another 2, maybe 300,000 more players in the day one raid, that's a big move. Numbers like that, it might be worth having the raid on the weekend. Now, teaming up with Team Rubicon for National Preparedness Month. Another month and another reason to get out there and do some good. The latest initiative for Bungie Foundation is making sure that National Preparedness Month is as prepared as possible. We've got the Bungie Foundation here to chat a little bit about its latest initiative, which you can learn more about below. So September is National Preparedness Month, which is a time to raise awareness about the importance of preparing for disasters and emergencies that could happen at any time. Now, we are thrilled to partner with Team Rubicon in their effort to help communities prepare, respond, and even recover from disasters and humanitarian crisis. Now, this was founded following the Haiti earthquake in 2010. The organization has grown to more than 150,000 volunteers, known as Gray Shirts. Gray Shirts come from all walks of life: military veterans, first responders, and anyone ready to make a difference. With volunteers located in a multitude of communities across the country, Team Rubicon is uniquely positioned to prepare and provide aid immediately after disasters. The Bungie Foundation has kicked this campaign off with a 150,000 donation to Team Rubicon. For the month of September, we invite you to join us in supporting their efforts by donating to Team Rubicon Preparedness Month campaign, and anyone who donates $50 or more by Friday, September the 30th, will receive the Seeds of Hope emblem. Dude, I do have an obsession with getting all the emblems, right? Yeah, so guys, there'll be a link there. If you're interested in donating $50 or more, you can get that emblem in-game. And again, those digital incentives will be automatically redeemed via donors Bungie.net ID and will appear in Destiny 2's collections. Now, known issues. The crafted BXR 55 Battler doesn't receive a gold border when an enhanced perk is added. Yeah, I saw that yesterday. yesterday. Also, Kingfall carries aren't being correctly counted in the stat tracker. The Dawn Course exotic doesn't appear in collections. Storm Trance does not increase its damage over time while attacking. Now, an added update that went out today, or hotfix that went out today, was hotfix 6.2.0.2 that addressed several issues, such as the Striker and Stormcaller subclasses not benefiting from the resilient base PvE damage resistance, aka you're not getting max resist at 100 resilience when rocking Arc subclasses for Titan and Warlock. That has been fixed. Also, the disabled Titan exotic has also been re-enabled, so be looking out for a review from us as well as a build for that. Now, sir, you dropped your Prime Gaming. Looks like we have some new Prime loot this week, which includes Darcy that cleans up good exotic weapon ornament, the Machino Form exotic ship, Plunder Projection legendary ghosts, and Magnetism exclusive seasonal emblem. We do like Prime Gaming. Now, as a final note here from Bungie, TWABs, they grow up so fast. Before you know it, they're heading out off to college, and on a more serious note, we're excited to see all your thoughts on the latest storyline for Season of the Plunder. We're loving all of your excitement over Drifter and your pledges of undying love for Ida. She's pretty great. So keep these memes of eternal devotion coming because they are hilarious. With all the PvP talk, please remember that we are always taking in feedback. Sometimes that feedback won't make it in the game for 1,000,000,001 different reasons, but you never know in what other ways your input can inspire other equally important changes to the world of Destiny. For now, get in there, board those pirate ships, take all the booty you can handle, and make sure you're drinking your water as you go. Hydration, hydration, hydration. It's what Ida would want. Until next time, Guardians, I should go love hippie. Fellas, that is your TWAB for this week. Again, we are going to be making a video on skill-based matchmaking. I have a BXR review to put out soon. It'll probably be out tomorrow first thing, and that's going to go over the crafted version of the BXR. We've even put out a guide on how to farm Dares of Eternity weapons, which is definitely worth the grind, fellas. They are fantastic. But as far as skill-based matchmaking goes, I do have some very strong opinions about it. We'll keep that to one video, though. I'm going to say my piece, and that is it. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.